Hey everyone, in this video we're going to complete Workbook Exercise AP2B from Chapter 5. Okay, so in this problem we are looking at the fact that we have a loan for the business and we borrowed this money on November 1st and we'll repay the loan in the following year on February 1st, and the bank charges an annual interest rate of 6% on the loan. And so we need to book the adjusting entries to accrue interest on December 31st. And we have not yet recorded any accrued interest up to that point. So the thing we need to basically do is take the 75,000 and, if we multiply that by 6%, that gives us annual interest. And in this instance, that would be for a full year. And so what we want is not the full year's worth, but we only want, at December 31st, we just want November and December, the 2 months, lead up to the end of the month. And so we need to take 2/12 times 75,000 or times 6% times 75,000. So 2/12 of that total annual interest rate, essentially. And that amount is going to be $750. So then we're going to book our journal entry in here. Since we're talking about interest, this is our interest expense. We're going to put in our debit for the debit, and then interest payable will be our credit. And again, that was taking the 75,000 total amount times 6% to get us a annual amount of interest expense associated with this loan. But then since we're only recording 2 months worth of expense by the end of the year, that's where we're going to take 2/12 instead of the full year, 2 months out of the year basically. So that gives us, doing those calculations, gives us $750. And we can say to accrue interest owed. And then just to kind of illustrate the point, even if a little more, but just if it's helpful to see it, we could have our $75,000 times 6% times 2/12 to get us our total of $750. Okay, and then we're going to talk about in the next section that we need to record the entry for the payment of the loan and the principal on February 1st, 2019. So we'll put our date in. And then this entry, the first thing we want to make sure that we do is record the payback of the full amount of the loan. So that's the principal, the $75,000, that gets paid back. The second piece here, we've got interest payable that we recorded in our previous entry at year end of the prior year. So that's $750. So when we make this cash payment, we want to clear out that payable that we owe for the portion of the interest expense in 2018. And then the interest expense owed for February then is going to be the amount of interest just for that 1 month, essentially, right? Just for January of 2019, because we're repaying this on February 1st. So there's not really any time in February where the interest expense is, racking up. That was just, we had the 2 months in 2018, and then we have one more month in 2019 of January before the amount is repaid, essentially. So the interest expense, and we haven't, we're assuming we haven't recorded any interest expense in January yet. And so one way we can just do this easily is just to look and say, okay, $750 was the amount for 2 months. So if we're talking about just 1 month, it's going to be $375, which is 1/2 of the $750 basically. So if you want to do the calculations, it would be 75,000 times 6% times 1/12. But since we already know what 2/12 is, it's pretty easy just to take 1/2 of that. So that's what I've done there. And then, yeah, repaying the principal of the loan, paying off the amount of the interest that we accrued in December 31st of last year, and then recording the amount of expense that we're going to owe in 2019 here. And then we just add all those amounts up, and the amount we're going to have to pay back the bank in total after 3 months of owing, borrowing 75,000 is 76,125. So in total, you can say, to borrow $75,000 for 3 months at 6% cost us, it was $1,125 basically over the repayment, that original loan proceeds. And we can just say to pay loan and interest. And then at that point, our full liability is repaid, and nothing really else to do there on this problem. So thanks for following along, and I'll see you in the next video.